The night Claire told me she was leaving, her words cut deeper than any blade. We had been married for 8 years, built a life from the ground up, and weathered storms that would have broken weaker couples. Yet there she stood, suitcase by the door, eyes shimmering with a strange mix of guilt and excitement. "I can't do this anymore, Mark," she whispered. "I still love Daniel." Daniel. Her ex. The man she once swore was a mistake, a chapter of her past better left closed. For years she had convinced me that he was nothing but a memory, and I believed her. But now the truth unfolded in front of me. Every late-night text, every unexplained absence, every distracted smile, they all made sense. She had been drifting back to him while I held on to the illusion of a marriage worth saving. I didn't beg. I didn't argue. I simply let her go. She wanted Daniel, she could have him. But as the door closed behind her, something inside me shifted. The pain was sharp, but beneath it was a steady current of resolve. I wouldn't chase after someone who chose to betray me. Instead, I would quietly prepare, in ways she never expected. For months, Claire had assumed I was oblivious, that my silence was weakness. But I had noticed. I had gathered proof, financial records, hidden messages, even witness accounts. And while she thought I was drowning in heartbreak, I was building a case, repositioning my assets, and planning my next moves with the precision of a man who had nothing left to lose. When Claire left, she believed she had won, that Daniel would give her the life she thought she deserved. What she didn't know was that her betrayal had awakened something cold and calculating in me. I wasn't going to scream or fight. No, my revenge would be silent, devastating, and absolute. The game had just begun. And soon Claire would realize that walking out on her husband wasn't just a mistake. It was the decision that would shatter her entire world. Claire's new life with Daniel looked glamorous from the outside. Social media painted a picture of candlelit dinners, weekend getaways, and laughter that seemed endless. But behind the curated smiles, cracks began to form. Daniel wasn't the man she remembered. The charm that once drew her and now masked irresponsibility. He struggled with money, changed jobs constantly, and treated her less like a partner and more like an accessory. Meanwhile, I remained silent, watching from the shadows. I had shifted every major asset into trusts and accounts Claire had no claim over. The house she thought she might return to one day? Already under my sole control. The investments she once bragged about to friends? Out of reach. Piece by piece, I dismantled the future she assumed would always be hers. Then came the divorce proceedings. Claire entered the courtroom with Daniel at her side, expecting to walk away with half of everything I owned. But as the evidence unfolded, her confidence drained. The messages, the hotel receipts, the witness testimonies, all laid bare in front of the judge. Her betrayal was undeniable. And with betrayal came consequences. The court ruled heavily in my favor. Claire, who thought she would claim a fortune, was left with almost nothing. Her lawyer scrambled. Daniel whispered furiously at her side, but there was no undoing the damage. I had planned too carefully, moved too decisively. She wasn't just leaving me for another man. She had walked straight into her own ruin. I didn't gloat. I didn't even look at her when the judgment was read. My silence was my sharpest weapon. For Claire, the absence of my anger hurt more than rage ever could. She wanted me broken, begging, diminished. Instead, she saw me stronger than ever, unshaken and untouchable. Daniel's smile faded soon after. Without the financial cushion she promised him, the strain of their life together grew. Arguments replaced laughter, resentment replaced romance. Claire had gambled everything on her ex, only to find herself trapped in the wreckage of her own choices. And all the while I moved forward, building a life without her shadow. Months passed, and the distance between us became permanent. I focused on my work, my home, and the quiet freedom that came with not having to look over my shoulder anymore. Friends who once pitted me now spoke with admiration. They saw a man who refused to let betrayal define him, who turned devastation into strength. Claire, on the other hand, was unraveling. I heard through mutual acquaintances that Daniel had left her. The money troubles mounted, the lifestyle collapsed, and the once glamorous facade fell apart. She tried reaching out once, sending a message that carried no apology, only nostalgia. "Remember when we used to dream together?" she wrote. I didn't respond. Dreams meant nothing when they had been trampled so carelessly. One evening, while sitting on the porch of the house I had rebuilt in peace, I realized something. Revenge hadn't been about destroying her. It had been about reclaiming myself. Every careful step, every calculated move, was less about punishing Claire and more about ensuring I'd never again be trapped in someone else's selfishness. The world had changed for me. I invested in land, started projects that gave me purpose, and surrounded myself with people who valued loyalty. My circle was smaller, but it was stronger. There was no room for lies, no space for manipulation. Claire's name no longer carried weight in my life. She became a story people whispered about. The woman who left a stable marriage for passion and found nothing but ruin. Daniel, too, faded into obscurity, just another fleeting mistake in her long list of miscalculations. The irony wasn't lost on me. She had walked out believing she'd gain the world, but in doing so, she lost everything. And I, the man she dismissed as weak and predictable, had risen far beyond the life we once shared. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, I allowed myself a quiet smile. Not of cruelty, not of triumph, but of peace. She had written her ending the moment she walked out the door. I had simply turned the page.